Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Beginner Electrical Engineer here today, and we are bringing you a clamp meter. Now this is a vintage one that I found quite cheap. It was only £5 and it doesn't seem to work yet, so I'm going to open up the case and see if it needs a new battery. So as we can see here, there is a small screw right here. Now let's see if we can unscrew it and open it up. Now the way a clamp meter works is you essentially... I remember what this is for. This screw is actually for the calibration of the meter itself. As you can see, it does adjust it a little bit so that it zeroes correctly. So that's not going to do anything. Let's flip it to the back and see if we can open it up this way. Let me see if I can pry that out, because there seems to be a little rubber cover covering some of the screws, which is rather unfortunate. I'm going to take one of my smallest screwdriver tips and see if I can take it out. There we go, there's one. Now to just do the other three. So yes, as I was saying, a clamp meter works by monitoring the magnetic field of any wire going through the clamp. Obviously, the more expensive ones can measure AC and DC current, but the cheaper ones can only measure AC current because it depends on an alternating voltage induced within the clamp. Now, here we go. And the last one. There we go. Oops. We need a small posi screwdriver, and you can see inside the case. Three and four. Here we go. Now let's see if we can open this up. Oh, it's coming loose. I think this one still needs a bit more. Or is there a hidden screw anywhere? I sincerely hope not. Let's take this dial off, if we can. Because I am struggling to open up this case. Come on, let's get that last screw out. Come on. There we go. Now, this isn't opening up very easily. What size is that in that hole? It's hard to see. Looks like there should have been a screw in there so that the dial doesn't come off. Then again, there might be a very small Allen key in there. So I'm going to have to grab my little Allen bit and see if I can undo it with this screwdriver. There we go. I got the exact right size, so that's convenient. There we go, and that comes off. Now we can hopefully take the case off as well. There we go. Now, as you can see, there's the adjustment wheel. We've got a circuit board here, the coil assembly here, and the rest of the measuring instruments and probes and such. We've got a tiny little variable resistor here as well, which is what that dial that we just took off was. Now let's take our screwdriver and try and take this board off. Now, as some of you might be aware, I do have a live stream going on tonight at 10:30 in the UK time, or what was it? I think it was 5 PM Central Standard Time. I'll put on screen the actual value, the actual times. So, underneath, as we can see, it's all rather simple. It's actually just a whole bunch of resistors, what looks to be a fuse, and one sec, just focus, and a small capacitor. Now there's a bit of an inductor there, I think, as well. But yeah, it's all very simple. Unfortunately, it's not battery operated or anything that I can change, but there doesn't seem to be any damages done, so this should work, which is a bit confusing because it didn't for me. I mean, I suppose we could always adjust these here and see if we can get the correct measurements, but for that we need it to actually work. So let's put it back together and see if it does actually work. So where's the screws for the circuit board? Here they are. There's one. There's one. Sorry if my voice is a little quiet today, it's just I'm trying to save it for the live stream, and I am pretty tired right now, so no doubt I'm going to be tired later as well. There we go, and screw it in. Now let's put the case back together. There we go. Put on our dial, which I kind of chewed up a little. Put that back onto the potentiometer. Grab our little screwdriver and the bit that fits it, and tighten it up. There we go. Now that works. Again, we can put the screws back in as well. is the first one. And here's the second. Now the principle between this meter, which is a very old-fashioned analog meter, and the clamp meters used nowadays, the digital ones, is actually pretty similar, because they still use the ferromagnetic laminated, well, it's essentially a core like you would see on a transformer, with a coil around part of it like we saw earlier. Now that induces an EMF in the across the coil, which can be measured with electronics and outputted onto a display in the modern case. I mean, with the analog case, as we saw, it was essentially just a coil, some resistors, a capacitor to stabilize it, and an inductor to limit the current. That's about it. Literally everything there is to it. There we go. Now that they're all sufficiently tight, let's just pop the caps back in. One. Two. 3. And 4. There we go. Now I'm just going to quickly plug in my lamp, which is the reason why it's so dark today on the video, and we shall measure the current consumed by said lamp. Okay, so here is the cable, the extension cable that leads to the lamp, and we're just going to set our meter to amps mode. We can turn on our lamp. As you can see, that's much better. I should have used the lamp from the start of the video, but oh well, I'm just going to face it away from the camera a little bit. And by simply putting our meter around it, we should at least get a value. But we're not. Which is rather unfortunate. And I really don't know why it's been doing that. But as you can see, it's still reading 0, no matter what current we set it to. So let's try it on the other one, or perhaps around just the earth cable to see if there's any leakage, which there really shouldn't be, else I would most likely be dead. There we go. Which I am disappointed with, to be honest. It would have been nice if it had worked, but it was only £5, so what do you expect? While I am disappointed, I wouldn't say I'm surprised at all. I mean, what do you expect for £5? And it's still a nice vintage piece anyway, so yes. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next video, or my live stream if you would like to check that out.